on YouTube. So today we're playing with the Powerstroke. We're going to work with Mr. Al here to see about getting our bumper put back on. This is what our pump looks like. It's kind of bent up. Frame's kind of bent. Bad. Alright, then we get over here, take a look at the bumper. This would be the top part of the bumper. And this is what points in to the plate we just saw. This side's good shape, maybe a little bent. This side over here is pretty bent. See, that could be straightened up. You know, that'd probably match up to the front, and it'd be ready to just bolt on. Look at the same other side. Chickens want us to go ahead and fix this. Al's going to come over here and fix this for us. Show us how to put this bumper on there. Make it look badass like it's supposed to. Alright, one more look at the bumper. This is the straight side. It might be a little bent though. Not too bad. You know, this other side can be straightened up. And then getting that other one lined up should be no problem. Alright, next let's go out here and look at this forklift. Okay, so on the forklift we have a broken union point on the tire. See this right here, this is the tire that's on there and that's correct. This is what it all should look like. Make sure some critter don't come out after us. See, there's these two pins up here. That pin right there that take those 4 bolts off, and there's a pin that drops down into the casing down here. There's a hole in it. Alright, same on the bottom. There's 4 holes just like this with bolts you pull out and the pin comes out. Alright, so and then there's the drive shaft. That drive shaft right there that was cut. So, and when I say that was cut, that's on the other side. where our problem is. So what we have is, all right, well, it got dark on us, and we had to come back out here and redo part of this video that didn't come out. So, all right, start off with, I call that a drive shaft there, and it's not a drive shaft, it's the cylinder that articulates this tire to go left and right, so kind of like one of the lifts at work. So in a way it drives the wheel to move left and right like a steering wheel, like you have up front, right? So basically this forklift, you can get up in front of something and crawl left or crawl right. So not a drive shaft, but it's the end of the shaft of the cylinder. And here's what it looks like on the wheel side of it. Right, here's the end of the shaft of that cylinder, which I call the drive shaft, but it's not, right? It's this clasp that drives the cylinder, right? Because it's rotating on those two pins right there. So the other part, which is on the rear end itself, is broke, right? Where that pin goes through, right? It goes through. You pull those 4 bolts off, and that pin comes out. Do the same on the bottom one, 4 bolts right there. Pull those 4 bolts out, and that pin comes out. Put the 2 in, put the bottom pin together, and the top pin together, and then you have your wheel attached to the front, right? And there is a drive shaft in the center, right? That drive shaft that drives that is actually in the ground, right? Because this thing has sunk, so the end of the shaft is underground. It's dug in, basically. But I can show you the top part of this, right? So you see what it looks like, right? So what's broke is on the bottom piece, right? We'll have to dig this thing up out of the ground and get it to where you can work on. But that bottom piece is cracked or broke. I don't have the other piece, right? But it's broke. So where this is a full circle, there it's missing like maybe 3/8, a quarter, or 3/8, maybe half of the circle. I don't remember, and I can't get to it because it's underground. And the shaft, well, the shaft is in here. You can see part of it in the hole right there. And the shaft probably comes out to here somewhere, and it's under in the dirt as well. So that's what it's going to take, right? It's going to take building that structure on a case. You know, can it be done on this case? I don't know. Somebody did it once before, so I'm assuming it can. And you know, getting that pin to fit in there correctly, and the top pin, and you know, basically mounting the tire on. And here's a cylinder that you see is a cylinder, hydraulic cylinder that goes in and out, and that's the end of the cylinder that goes on that shaft assembly that I showed you earlier. You know, this thing may need to be straightened up. And you know, when you drive one of these things, especially out here on the farm, you know, we're not going to be cruising 50-60 miles an hour. It's, you know, 5-10 miles an hour, or whatever it is. The main thing that you're doing this, using this big old beast for, is its ability to pick things up: hay bales, cars, you know, animals, boats, whatever you can imagine. This thing can lift it. I've loaded minivans on my trailer to take the scrap when, you know, there was no more fixing them. So anyway, that shaft needs to be welded on, and that circular part right there needs to be repaired. But before all that can happen, this whole thing needs to be jacked up out of the ground. So I'm going to stop right here, and Al, you'll get a better view of this when you come fix the bumper. But man, if you're in for this, dude, I'd really appreciate working with you and getting that done. Alright, YouTube, we're going to keep you up to date, because soon enough we're going to get this big old bad lift here going, and we're going to get that bumper put on the 97. Let me show you the inside of this one more time. Alright, so there you go. There's where the pin goes. There's the union of the two. You know, that piece right there, if you can envision that chunk where the pin goes through, that has to be built up, made. Does it have to be perfect? I don't know. I think you know, if it holds the pin and the weight, and you'll have a better idea of all that than me, then it should work. You know, if there's a little slop to it, I don't know that that's a problem, especially if, you know, that pin isn't going to go anywhere, and the weld is stout enough to keep that pin in the hole. You know, it may be that I have to replace the pin, you know, once a year. But this thing is not going to get that much work done with it. It's just going to be when I need it, right? When I need it, it needs to work. And then we're not cruising 50 miles an hour, like I said. We're only, you know, crawling from the barn to the hay bales to, you know, wherever it might be. But should it you know, be needed to go out into a pasture for whatever reason, you know, we'll have it for that as well. All right, we'll stop there. Thank y'all.